evening and welcome to Speak Out Loud. My name is Success Coach Ricky Terry, president of One Due North and host of this show. And guys, I got to be honest with you today. We're in take two. See, transition causes all kind of things to happen. In the midst of the transition, you find that things aren't always perfect, but you've got to do what I've always said. You got to keep going. You got to keep going, and you got to keep going until you get it the way you want it, whether that is in your professional or in your personal life. And today I brought someone that can help you get it all together. There's a great transition going on in the workforce, and many of us are not aware of all of the tools that are available to us and all of the resources that will help us climb that ladder to success. So I went and got a dear friend of mine, Mr. Miller Simmons III, to help us out with some of these transitional moves that we are either being forced to make or we are intentionally making. Either way, there's a transition going on. So won't you come on in the room for a conversation? I promise you, you're going to get a lot out of it. Miller, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Ricky Terry, what's up, brother? How are you? Good to see you.
It is good to see. It is good to see anybody, but more importantly, it is good to be seen in these trying times. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
It is some trying times. We want to thank you for spending the day with us. Happy Martin Luther King Day, the day of service. And look at you, giving service to the people. Man, I could not be happier to have you with us. Thank you. And will you do me a favor? Will you properly introduce yourself, your beautiful company, what you guys do, and then let's talk for a little while.
All right, great. Thank you. It's my honor to be here, Ricky. I appreciate this time. I am the principal and executive career coach with Century Career Consultants. We provide workforce transition solutions. That's anything from developing a resume, career coaching, job search strategies, mock interviews, pretty much trying to help you transition successfully into that next career.
Okay. And give them the name of your company one more time.
Century Career Consultants.
And in that, career consultants, meaning you ain't some recruit out there just looking to place people. Am I
No,
right or wrong?
no, no,
What's the
no.
difference between your company and recruiters?
Um, I've spent a number of years in recruiting and HR. That's really working to bring individuals into the organization. My company, we focus on helping individuals get into companies, but not from the perspective of recruiting, but giving them the tools to be as they're applying for these jobs. What are the strategies? How do you do that? And then we leverage the experience from being in HR and in talent acquisition to help them land these career opportunities.
When we're talking about career opportunity individuals, we are talking about professionals and those that are looking to go into executive, or is it executive placement, or is it the whole gamut?
It's really the whole gamut. I mean, when I say professional, even if you might not consider yourself a professional in the terms of in that term, but whether you are a new grad, I consider you a professional. If you're somebody that you worked picking up trash, you're a professional. So it runs the gamut. So don't let the title professional scare anyone off. That's an inclusive statement for me.
I like it. And in terms of transitioning now, we know that massive amounts of people are being transitioned either out of placement where they're currently at, or believe it or not, I know this for a fact. A lot of people are now transitioning into new positions that they didn't even see coming. What are you seeing as an expert out there in terms of transitioning? What's out there available?
In terms of areas of an opportunity, the federal government is always hot. They lost some jobs, but not in the scheme of things, really not a lot. So the federal government is always a safe bet. Difficult to get in, but if you're in there, it's a stable job. Transportation and warehousing. You think of Amazon.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
that in December, when jobs had dropped in December, they started the uptick and started recovering. Same thing happened with professional and business services as well as financial services. So those three areas as of December, they lost, but they started recovering as of December to now. I'd have to look and see what the new jobs reports come out from the Department of Labor looks like. But as of January 15th, those numbers look really good.
I can imagine too that healthcare is really on the rise in terms of needing people. Though it's a scary field right now. You got any word for those who are looking to go into? I got a friend I just spoke to yesterday in Atlanta, who is getting her nurse's license, and she's poured a lot of money into it. But now she's scared to death because when she started, COVID wasn't around,
Mhm.
and now she's graduating next year and she's scared to go forward and feel like she's invested too much not to. What do you say to people like that?
Nurses are always that is almost like a federal government job. You are always in need. So I wouldn't be concerned at all. Now they did lose in terms of a combination of education and health services 1,200,000 due to the COVID pandemic, but I would think most of that came from the education sector versus health because in the pandemic we need health care workers. So whatever your skill set in that particular industry, oh yes, very much needed.
And I heard you say college grads. In terms of those who are graduating or who did graduate in 2020 or looking to graduate in 2021, what's the prospects looking like right now?
It's challenging. It is challenging. One of the things that I have a couple of new grad clients. I would recommend connecting with a career coach,
Hmm.
somebody that knows the industry, that knows how to take you from developing a resume, updating your LinkedIn, all through the job search strategy process, mock interview, the entire process, because you're going to need that. Because in
Right.
this market of the high unemployment, it's almost like the housing market. It, employers have options, a lot of options, and a lot of people are unemployed. So in order to be competitive, I would say connect with a coach and make sure your resume's together. And definitely, I would do a cover letter as well.
Well, we talked before, and that's real important. Giving yourself every possible advantage, because as you said, there are a lot of people who are now uh, relocating. They're looking for new jobs. They're looking to expand their strength, and some are even leaving high positions to come down a little bit for job security. Having a coach, in terms of a percentage, what do you think the percentage is in standing out versus someone who showed up as an independent?
Um, I really think it depends on your coach and their experience and what they bring to the table. What I can say for myself is because I have worked in HR and in talent acquisition, I know what goes on in the minds of the recruiters and what they're trying to do and what they're dealing with in terms of the hiring manager. And so I work with them, like I said, not only on their resume, their LinkedIn profile is critical. And
Hmm.
we also look at from a job search strategy, we set you up for success. You apply through the normal means, but there's some other things that we do to identify key stakeholders in that company so that after you apply, you have somebody to follow up with because the follow up is critical
Oh,
because in this market recruiters are being inundated with all of these resumes and the way you stand out is you have to follow up.
when you say follow up and you're saying cover letter, and I'd like to assume, but an old sergeant told me, assuming the first three letters, it will make that out of you.
Mhm.
What is, and I remember a couple of weeks ago, my wife, who is a hiring person, uh, had a position open. A great number of qualified candidates applied for that position, and she was really kind of tossing with, wow, this one fits good and this one fits good, but there was no one who stood out until she got a thank you, a simple follow-up thank you, and that person stood out. How important is the cover letter? I mean, when we talk about follow-up, not just follow up, but actually digging in and letting the person know how you felt about that resume. Is that what you're talking about? Or what is a good technique to follow up? And when should one follow up?
So let me start with the cover letter. The
Okay.
cover letter is really expressing to that hiring manager or that talent acquisition professional why you think you're the best fit for that particular job. And so it gives you an opportunity to highlight your special skills and speak to that specific job. Not a lot of people do cover letters. I would go back to doing that, especially now. In terms of follow up, after you apply, I'd give folks maybe a week to 10 days, but then I would reach out to the hiring manager if you can get their information, because oftentimes on the job description it will say who you're reporting to. You
Mm.
can leverage LinkedIn to be able to find out who that person is and send your resume and cover letter to them directly. I would look for somebody that works in that department. That's critical because that individual, if they work in that department, might be an internal champion that might be willing to give you the lay of the land and might be willing to forward your resume on to the hiring manager. And then third is either somebody in HR or talent acquisition, because you want to be able to somebody to reach out and touch to say, hey, I applied. I just want to check on my application.
So I'm going to take what Miller said, and I'm going to encourage you, if one, strongly, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you are really, I'll let the expert tell you. What happens if you don't have that LinkedIn profile?
Um, you're non-existent, really.
Even with
It
all my education?
where they, I mean, 90% of recruiters look on LinkedIn as a part of their sourcing process.
Okay.
Most applicant tracking systems are tied to LinkedIn to some degree, where they're pulling in information from LinkedIn. You can even apply for jobs using your LinkedIn profile. That's how important it is. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, I would strongly encourage you to get on LinkedIn and set up a profile, get a professional picture, do the whole deal. And like I said, working with a career coach, they can help you with all the nuances that go on with building out appropriate online branding for yourself so that it looks professional and it speaks the image that you are trying to relay to not only your network, but to potential hiring managers.
Well, you said it, and your company. This is something. If you were working with an individual, let's say you're working with me, then
Right.
you're going to take a global snapshot of my social media. I take it what I'm working with, and help me design it to attract the right companies. Or are you helping me laser target exactly who I want to get?
It's both, because most people LinkedIn profile, they're not utilizing all of the landscape on their profile. There's a lot of different things you can do that is going to make your profile memorable,
Oh.
which is important. And there's keywords, because when the recruiter is doing a search on LinkedIn, they're using a Boolean search, which is using, let's say, nurse and Atlanta. And so, and that will help pull up. So if you have those appropriate keywords in your LinkedIn, make it easier for them to find you.
What are key? You said this a couple times, and forgive my lack of knowledge. But what are keywords, and how do I know if I have them or not?
Very good question. The keywords or relevant keywords are the words that will come up in your resume. And an applicant tracking system, their job is to not only track candidates through the entire recruiting lifecycle, it also uses it to identify those keywords that they have picked that would help the recruiter identify the best candidates. So currently they're using applicant tracking systems and artificial intelligence, or AI, to be able to identify. So there's a tool that I use with my clients. I'm not going to give it up right now, maybe we'll talk about that. But it identifies the keywords in the resume, and that's really how your resume gets to the top of the electronic pile, is having those appropriate or relevant keywords that are picked out or identified by the recruiting team.
Okay, so I've been working in this environment for whatever amount of time, and I find myself now in need of a career change. A transition is happening for whatever the reason. I've heard you say coach. How do you know when you have the right coach that can actually help you? Because I'm just going to be blunt in this. I've spent over 30 plus years gaining the knowledge and leadership abilities I have. It's been tried and tested through the military and the government, corporate America. You were my actual introduction into corporate America and sales when we worked together and I worked for you. Um, how do you know when you have the right person in your corner? Because I'm seeing online now $49 and you got a coach, or you can become a coach. And all of a sudden you're a coach because you had $49, you get a piece of paper. But how do I know I got the right person, sir?
What I would say in that case is I do an initial consultation, free initial consultation, which is it goes anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, sometimes longer, just because I really love what I do. But it's really in that initial consultation of talking with that person. Are they connecting with you? Do they understand what you're going through? Have they gone through something themselves?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if you know this, but there was a time I was out of work for, I want to say, a year and 3 months. I have been fired. I've been pushed out. So I've been where a lot of my clients and a lot of people in transition are right now. So I understand where standing in their boots is like. So you want to have a coach who understands your plight and how, and not just um, have the head knowledge, but really understand. And do they have the credentials and the experience that couples with um, that knowledge to be able to help you go from A to Z? Now, there's another component that with coaching, and when you lose a job or in transition, the mental aspect is daunting for people. It is so difficult. I've had people who have lost a job and now they're taking depression medicine. I've had people that say this feels like a divorce. So we not only deal with the basic blocking and tackling of the job search process, we help in terms of the counseling and talking through those mental issues that you might be dealing with as it relates to the job loss, because your mental attitude about the approach is critical. And so if you don't have somebody that you can work with or a sounding board to be able to talk through what some of those difficult issues you're dealing with, it makes the job search process even more difficult.
And this is why I tell people all the time it is important that you have an accountability team to help you get to the next level. Part of my accountability team for years, has been Miller Simmons III. Because of my work habits and my ability to get the job done, long after we had separated from each other in employment, he was still calling me when something came up because he understood what I brought to the table. It is critical that your mental toughness be recentered, reevaluated, because you don't want to look for a job while you're angry. As a matter of fact, the best time to look for a job, according to my sister in law, Dr. Angela Ferguson, is when you have a job. Is it easier at that point to transition because you have a stable income, you have a job, you're in the right set of mind, but you know there's handwriting on the wall that is directing you to go to the next level or kind of take a step back? When doing that, sir, and working with you, what's the advantage? And I know what it is, but what's the real advantage of having that sounding board?
Oh man, it differs for each individual. I mean, if you're a single individual, you need somebody that is a um, that's been there, done that, but also understands
Mm.
where you are and can kind of normalize what you might be dealing with. Because oftentimes you can go to your spouse, but there may be some issues that you need an objective person to be able to either call you to the fire and say, no, this is what we need to do, versus I'm not going to coddle you. Here's what we need to do. But there may be times it's like, you know what, I do understand what you're dealing with. Let's just talk through what you're dealing with and
And
make sure that they're in a good place. Because like you said, if you're angry, frustrated, and you carry that into the next job, you have started the new job on a bad foot already.
And I'm gonna tell you, as a hiring person, one of the things I looked at was people who we did bring into the organization. You could tell when there was a problem when they started saying, "At my old job, we didn't do it that way. At
Mm-hmm.
my old job, we did it this way." Listen to me. Stop saying that. You're in a new place, you're in a new location. Learn the new lay of the land.
Mm-hmm.
In terms, sir, of working with you, how would that process be if I've done all the right things, I have all the right credentials? What would an experience look like working with a professional expert at getting people placed in the right job? What is that process like?
Well, we start with our free initial consultation. Like I said, it ranges between 15 and 45 minutes, depending on the conversation. And once we've solidified that this is a good fit for them and good fit for us, we start with their resume, and that's a collaborative approach. I start with a framework, and then we work together on building out that resume so that it looks and it speaks to the types of jobs that they're looking for. And then once we do that, we pivot to their LinkedIn profile, and we make sure that the LinkedIn profile and the resume sync up so that the LinkedIn profile is reaching the right audience and saying the right things. And then from there, we start looking at the job search strategy. We start identifying companies, we start identifying positions. And then once we've identified those positions, we go through the normal application process, but then there's some things behind the scenes in the back office things that we do to massage the process to make sure that we get the candidate's resume and cover letter in the hands of the hiring manager.
Well, I got to ask, what's the ideal candidate? I mean, the perfect candidate. What does that person look like so we can create a bar and people listening can go, you know what? I fit into that.
Perfect candidate. Good question. I think anyone looking to advance their career, get a new job, update their resume, um, work on some skills that their performance review that they said that they need to work on, all of those individuals would fit. If you out of work, underemployed, working with all of those. So I don't think there's a set profile, but if you are looking to advance your career, then we could help.
And there you have it, guys. If you are looking to advance your career, you need to get help. I know a man who can help you. As a matter of fact, I know two. I know which way, which way. I know two. Is it this way? Is it there? Yeah, y'all get the picture. It's there. I know two people who can help you get to where it is you want to go. And just so you know, I didn't go get the guy selling the CDs. No bad against my side hustle pros, but I didn't go get the guy selling the CDs or the books out of his trunk. I went and got an expert. He doesn't like this part, but you know me, sir. Look, he already. Why you laughing, sir?
Because I know where we're going. So okay.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and tell the people, because it's important that they understand. I made a promise to my audience that I was only going to bring them the very best. They deserve that. What's your background, sir? What's your educational background so people know he didn't read this out of a book. He actually has lived it, learned it, and sharing it.
Yeah, one of the things I will say to anybody who's listening, if you've ever been in a position where somebody in a professional status in your life told you couldn't do something. I remember as a high school student, my guidance counselor told me you might as well go into the military because nobody's going to accept you. And there was a lot of schools that I got rejected from. I spent money after application, and I finally got into a small HBCU, Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Uh,
And I say that, and shout outs to HBCUs.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys, I'm gonna jump in. You guys are showing out. Look at the leadership position in the country. You guys are showing out, and I am so proud of HBCUs. My kids have attended HBCUs. We support them, and shout out to all the leaders who have gone through those doors and come out busting down walls. But go ahead, sir.
So I say all that to say, where you start doesn't mean where you're going to end. And
Mm.
so, I was fortunate enough to get my bachelor's degree from Lincoln University. Then I was able to matriculate into Temple University and got my master's of education from Temple. And then I moved down to Baltimore area and got my master's in business administration from the Johns Hopkins University. And then I have a certification called the SHRM SCP, which is a senior HR professional certification. And I'm proud of those things, but I'm humbled, like I said, where you start doesn't mean where you're going to end.
And when you have a conductor, and forgive me for giving you a title, but when you have a conductor that can get you on the train and get you to your designated place, you got to go with that conductor. You got to. And Miller has been a conductor of career coaching, counseling, and making people successful. I know because I can honestly say I'm one of his. And had it not been for his stern leadership and his approach to not only telling me what to do, but showing me how to be successful. If you're looking for someone who can teach you how to be successful, this your guy right here. Sir, how can they tell them the name of the company again and how they can get in touch with you?
The name of the company is Century Career Consultants. Our website is www.century, SENTRY, coach.com. You can also reach me at msimmons, SIMMONS, at centurycoach.com.
And guys, you will not be making a mistake. And I want to keep going because he's giving you all that, but he's also served as a mentor, and not just out there, everybody. We need mentors everywhere, but when you get on a global stage, you're a bad person. When you are recognized on the global, literally the global stage, what organizations are you working with to help people, sir?
There's an organization, and anyone can, if you're interested in giving back, you can be a mentor with this organization. It's called the Global Mentorship Initiative. And I'd be happy to make an introduction to the CEO. Great organization. And what we do is we mentor college students both in the US and South Africa. Most recently, I had a mentee that I was coaching out of South Africa. And it's just a great experience to be able to give back. Because one of the things that is important and is a mission statement, and my own personal mission statement, is changing lives through coaching. And this is my way of being able to give back because I've had many mentors over the years. And it's just an amazing thing to be able to give back and pour into somebody else's life.
And I can say you actually do that without any reservations whatsoever because I have been privy to it, and it helped reinforce what I had learned when I became before I became a civilian. And I think it is Zig Ziglar who said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything you want. And that's what Miller has done. But let me ask you a question. Before I get to the top 5 things we need to do to prepare for someone like you, I asked you what your ideal client was.
Mhm.
I got to ask you, what's that client that came to you and you just said, man, this is a hot mess?
Oh, well, I think it's really the client that already thinks that they have all the answers.
Mm.
Um, you know, um, and if you're not coachable, that says a lot about where you are right now, and you might be in worse trouble than you think. Um, because if you're not coachable, that means your manager can't coach you. There's blind spots that you're not seeing, and it's almost like the old adage: the best way to boil a frog is slowly.
Mm.
Because if you had the water boiling, they'll jump out. But if you slowly turn it up on them, so the folks that already think they have all the answers, I'm sure that there's some blind spots that they're not even aware of, and we all have it.
Well, I like that. And I think that's an honest question to ask yourself. And I think it's an honest, especially when you start seeking out mentors and you're paying for coaching because you don't get this stuff free. You heard Miller talk about his degrees and his challenges and his efforts, and God knows I can tell you it didn't take months, it took years to finally get to a place where I could be of real service. When we start talking about a coachable person, you should ask your friends, honestly, do you believe I'm coachable? And when you are not coachable, what should you do, sir?
Ooh,
I mean, when you've
um,
been told, look, here's the honest truth. You're a great person, but you're not very coachable.
you have to take a step back and do some reflection and really think about what it is what you're trying to do. And the one thing that I've always heard is you have to humble yourself, and you have to be willing to take a step. And that particular coach might not be the right coach. It might be another coach that, and their process may be a better fit for you. But you have to take inventory on what's going on with you and why is it that folks are telling you that you're not coachable.
And guys, I can't tell you if somebody told me if two people who don't know each other tell you the exact same thing, there's something to listen to there. Now we've talked about the favorite kind of client you're looking for, the ideal. We've even now touched on that person that needs to get some tightening up. But what are five things I should have prepared when I come to you? What are five things I need to be thinking about or have in place when I come to you? Or are there some things I need to have in place?
Not really. I mean, two main things that I need from, and that I think they need is, and even if the resume is old, just a copy of their resume, so that gives me some perspective on their work experience, and having an idea of where it is you're trying to go. Do you have a goal in mind? Is there a specific job in mind? Um, is that job realistic? I've had clients that have been teachers for 15 years, want to get out of teaching, and but that next job isn't necessarily realistic. And so, not that you can't get there, it just may mean it may take a couple steps to get to where you're trying to go, because you still can get there. So the main thing is, like I said, a resume doesn't have to be updated, and at least an idea of what it is that you want to do. With those two things, I can work with you from there.
Okay, here's the $1 million question. I hear it on LinkedIn, I hear it in social media. How long, how many pages
Ah,
should a resume be? Because I received some that were 4 pages long and I had no time for it. No disrespect, and it was good. And given this environment where people are well educated, they've had a lot of time in their jobs and learning, but how much of that should I put on my resume?
your resume really shouldn't be more than 2 pages long. And I've had clients who start their resume started at 4 and 5 pages, and we have gotten it down to 2 pages. Um, 2 pages is kind of the industry standard, because really recruiter and hiring manager, they don't have time to be going through 4 pages of resume. If you multiply, each recruiter, depending on their company, carries a workload or a rec load of 30 to 50 types of openings. So if they're reviewing 30 to 50 and that's across all the businesses that they're dealing with, and if each of those had 4 or 5 pages, it's just too much. So you got to be concise, be able to get your messaging across in a way. I read something recently that said your resume is advertisement to your next hiring manager.
Mm.
So what is your resume advertising about you?
And I think, given that scenario, one of the best things to do is take advantage of that 15, 30 minute free consultation you get with a professional career coach. And there is a difference between a professional hiring manager and a professional career coach. A career coach can help not only get your resume together, but will be able to tell you, you got a strong resume, but I'm not sure sales is in your future. Not to make the kind of money you want to make or be in the position you want to be in. Have you ever had to tell someone, I don't see this fitting this? And what is that like?
I have, but I don't discourage them. I just paint the picture so that it's realistic, that not that you can't get there, it just may mean that you may have to take another job before you get there, to set yourself up with the experience you need for that ultimate job that you're looking for, especially if you're transitioning from a different field. You may not be able to jump right into the position you want, or you might be able to get a job within that organization, but maybe not in sales, but in a different role, to get a better understanding of the culture, the company, and be able to work your way up to the position that you want to get to. I never discourage people from moving toward their goals and what they're trying to do. It just may mean, how do we get there?
Wow. Well, guys, you heard it. So I'm gonna get him to do something for you. Give me five wherever you go with it. I'm not gonna put you in the shoebox. Give me five, sir, if you don't mind, of your strongest tips we need to have in going through this transition.
Um, Number one would be a strong 2-page resume.
I hope you guys are writing this down. Please, please write this down.
The second would be updated LinkedIn profile. And a small tip: if you are connected to your hiring manager on LinkedIn, there's a way to turn off so that it does not notify your network of the changes that you're making, because you don't want to send up any red flags or flares that you making all these changes to your LinkedIn and somebody start wondering, is there something going on here? So that would be one thing. Or number two. And then number three is really identifying what positions that are interest to you. There's a tool that I use, and again, the first person that contacts us, we'll do an hour free consultation, and I'll tell them about this little known tool that I use that helps identify the keywords. I'm in the process of writing a book, and I say in the book, this is worth your admission into the game, and or the price of the book. It's a game changer. It
Now,
really is.
now, me and you, we go back like babies and pacifiers. You telling me, one, you got a book coming out?
I'm in the process of writing. I'm close. I'm not there yet, but I'm close.
Well, I've seen your close. Your close is everybody else is good. Your close is everybody else is great. You're close. So if that means once you cross the finish line, this thing is going to be as good to great. So can you've given us a taste of a nugget. If I had a few people who were reaching out to you, would you drop it on them?
Which part?
Hey,
The
whatever you want to drop on them. If we had some people who were
Oh
watching,
yeah,
said,
absolutely. Yeah,
what you
absolutely.
got? If we had, I don't know how many people you want to touch, but what you got? I don't care how you do it. I'm already excited. By the way, do I am I in the book?
No, no, not in the book yet. But
Oh man, I didn't make my mentor's book.
the book ain't finished yet. I'm still working out the title, and I'm still working out. I need to read through it and edits and all of those kinds of things. But I'm going to be working with somebody in the near future that can help me get this book out, probably in the next 90 days.
Okay. If you need an editor, I happen to be married to a professional
Yeah,
writer.
I heard that.
Just so you know, and I got to tell you first of all, we're gonna go off script here now, y'all. I am so proud of you. I am beyond proud of you, sir,
I
because
appreciate it.
there's a lot of knowledge you have shared over the years, uh, just because you cared about people and you cared about what was going on. Guys, when this book comes out, trust me, he'll be back on my show first, talking about it. But in the meantime, we covered three things so far. that people should have. 5 of your tips we've covered. Get that resume down to 2 pages. You can talk about everything else in the following interviews.
Yeah, roger that.
You know, update. And then there's a little known secret in LinkedIn. So when you go hunting, everybody don't know you out there hunting, because that turns a lot of people, that makes a lot of people scared. They're going to see me looking for a job. But you're saying there's a way to turn that part off.
There is. There's you can go in, and I can't think of it right now, but you can go into your settings and turn it off so that updates, any changes to your profile are not sent to your network. And it's just a small thing to do that I've done with clients to make sure that as we're going through and updating their LinkedIn profile, changing stuff around, updating the positions and the job information for each job. Once you're doing an overhaul like that on your LinkedIn, people will notice. And so just for precaution, if you're employed, and this is really just if you're already employed, if you're not, then no big deal. But if you are, and you don't want to set off any alarms, that's what I would do.
Okay. Now, I want people to know everything your company offers, and I just want to run it down, and then I'm going to stop at the one that just really tugs at my heart.
Okay.
Career coaching, executive coaching, professional resumes, professional federal resumes, which there's a difference, job search strategies, having a strategy and not just out there throwing spaghetti against the wall. That's important. Interview preparation resources, knowing your stuff, including, and guys, if you're taking notes, I pray you are. I wouldn't care if you're going to work for a sandwich shop. Understand the history of that sandwich shop. How long has it been there? Is it a family-owned franchise? Did the business start? The more you know about it, the better you are to show them how your skill set can match their vision. Because that's really what you're saying. My skill set will match your vision, and I'm prepared to go to work for your vision. Mark interview prep. Everybody that knows me from corporate America knows that I believe in role play. When you are taking people through these interview processes, what is that like? Because for me, teaching sales, I went to the heart of how I learned to teach as a drill instructor. How important is it to go through those mock interviews with family, with friends, with other professionals before you get to the job?
I mean, you can go through with family, friends. I would find a career coach, but if you're going to do that with family and friends, what I would do is you can look at the job description and you can create questions out of that job description and then have somebody quiz you on those particular questions and how you respond to them. The other thing I would do is I would write down the responsibilities on one side and how your background fits those responsibilities on the other side, so that when you are talking, when they're asking you questions, you have specific examples that you can go to. Most interviewers are using behavioral-based interviewing, where they're asking you, tell me a time when, because they're trying to see, okay, does your past performance match what they're looking for you to do in this new role? So a lot of interviews are behavioral-based interviews. And so being prepared to do that is critical. And so this nugget I will give you, there's something called the STAR method. We used to use that at Nestle all of the time, and everybody knows how large Nestle is. And and they had a pretty comprehensive interview process, more than I've ever seen before. But all the recruiters would encourage the candidates, if you don't know what the STAR method is, please go look it up. I do have some information I can send out. If folks reach out to me via email, I'll send you what I have on that. Very important method to be able to answer behavior-based interview questions.
The STAR method. I like that. I'm not familiar with that, so I'm going to look it up. But there is, I got 2 more I'm going to get to, but there is another thing that you and I spoke about before, and it has to do with goal setting and the acronym for, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep, SMART goals.
SMART goals. You've got to have some SMART goals, and this is where a coach comes in that will really help you break it down. Sir, you want to go over, you feel like you want to go over a little bit of what SMART goals are and what people can do, or the general process of what it takes to do that? so people know what we're talking about?
Yeah, SMART goals really help you focus in on your end result. Um, you can have a goal, but this looks at the timing, and there's a specific thing that you're trying to accomplish, and it really zeroes you in on what you're looking to accomplish. One of the things that we do with our mentees with the Global Mentorship Initiative is we go over SMART goals with them as well, and they found it is important as it is, to everybody else. So it is a very critical tool to use to help you get from A to Z and have a set plan to be able to get there.
And again, this goes back to really understanding the importance of being strategically prepared for what you want to go, so you can make a surgical incision to get what it is you want. Well, we're going to go one more. Workforce transition services. That's part of what you do. But the one that tugs after my heart is military transition services. Oftentimes, soldiers are armed with all kind of skill sets and leadership abilities, but we lack the knowledge of knowing how to transition to a civilian career with all of this expertise. What does your company do for military personnel?
We look at their background and their experience, and we pretty much fit that into corporate America language. And we work with them on building out a resume that's going to speak to corporate America, because there's a lot of companies that are interested in working with vets or having vets work for them. We have done some pro bono work with a couple vets, done their resumes for free, because they have given back to the country, and we wanted to do something to give back to them. And so we work with them on developing a corporate resume, if you would, and their LinkedIn profile, and go through the normal steps that we do with our clients.
Wow. Well, I want to encourage vets. Again, there are counselors within the military service.
Roger that.
You've already left. There are counselors on the outside. But I want to point you towards a man who helped me with my career. I had just come out of the military when I went to work for a Fortune 500 company in sales, and I had no civilian sales knowledge. He didn't tell me what to do. He coached me and mentored me to my success. And that's why I will always say Miller Simmons III is who you want to talk to. And we're going to do it again. If they want to set up a time to talk with you, sir, what's the best way to do it?
They can email me at msimmons@centurycoach.com. I'd be happy to do a free initial consultation for them, and see if I'm the best fit, and see how I can be of assistance to them.
Guys, if you don't take advantage of that nugget, of all the nuggets you've gotten, I've tried to place this one 3 to 4 times so that you would hear it. This is, not that he needs my stamp of approval, but this is the man to go to. He's going to be sincere with you. He's going to tell you like it is. He's not going to short you in any manner. And there is no under the table money. There is nothing. This is friendship and knowledge. So I want you to reach out to Miller, please. And if you got questions you want to ask me before you do that, or even afterwards, you know how to reach me. Guys, you've been talking to one of the best guys you're ever going to get a chance to plan your career with. You've had a chance to listen to some of his tips, his encouragement, and his knowledge. If there was something you wanted to say, sir, to the world in terms of transitioning, in terms of your company, in terms of hope, the floor is yours. What would you like to say? What would you like to put out that we didn't cover?
I think we've covered everything, but one of the things is especially in this environment and pandemic, I hear a lot of people, especially older folks, that think they may be too old, or that jobs aren't out there and they're losing hope. There is opportunity out there. There is opportunity, and you just have to keep moving forward. Don't give up, and then work with people that will encourage you along the way to help you to get to where you're trying to get to. But there is hope. Don't give up.
Well, you know what I say, guys, and I make no bones about it. Matter of fact, you guys can say it with me. Don't give up, don't give in, and don't give out. We don't have that much farther to go. I know you're going through some transition. I know it seems like there is no help. But trust me when I tell you, my grandmother proved it. Where there's a will, there's a way. You've been listening to Speak Out Loud, and as I promised you, I was going to bring you the very best. He has placed more people in positions and watched them climb the ladder. He has assisted more people who were already in position. And that's the next thing, sir, before we leave here. To the person who is already in their position, they're not looking to transition, they're looking to get better. Where would you help them at getting better?
I would send them to you.
How? Did y'all hear that? Look, that's called teeing it up. I appreciate that. But seriously, thank you for saying that. But just so they understand, one, I would send them to you because I know what you would do for them. But it's important that we get them to some people that can help. And this is what I'm talking about. When you look at someone, when I look at someone, there have been people I look at and I go, you know what? We have a different philosophy on how we're going to get this done. I tell people very bluntly, I don't let people that I coach me. That's my number one rule. By the time you get to me, you need real help. So I don't let you tell me how to coach you. That's the difference probably between Miller and I. Would you agree, sir? You work with him. I just look at him and go, you can't coach me to help you get to your success. You've had how many years of trying and it didn't work. Goes back to what you said, sir. If you're not coachable, I can't do nothing with you. So I got 2 hot minutes, sir. What you want to give the people?
Like I mentioned before, if the
I want some secret sauce. I want some secret sauce.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm headed. So the first person who reaches out to me, I'll do a free, I normally it's 30 minutes, but I'll do a free hour and kind of talk them through and better understand their situation. But I'm also going to tell them about that little known tool that I use to help you identify the key words in your resume. And not only in your resume, but the tool, you can plug the job description in and see what are the key words and important relevant words in that job description so that you can A, make sure that they're in your resume, B, that they're in your cover letter. And the third part is those are probably going to be areas of focus in the actual interview, areas that they're going to be asking you questions about. And this tool can help you. It's a game changer. That's best the way I can tell you. And that's not my word. I shared it with a colleague of mine when I was working at the National GW.
Restaurant?
Okay. GW Medical Faculty Associates. And I shared it with him there. And he was like, man, this is a game changer. I was like, yeah, it is.
Guys, you just got information. All you got to do is be the first person. We're only going to do one? Boy, that's going to be competitive. I know.
Yeah, probably. Let's do 2. We'll do 2.
Oh, I got y'all too.
We'll do 2. We'll do 2. I'm doing 2. Okay, so I'm doing 2, but I'm only doing 30 minutes a piece. But I'm also going to give them the free tool.
Well, I tell you what. If you do 2, you and I tell all my guests every now and then I do a Zoom invite where we invite people into it. And we spend some time answering their questions, showing them how, going over role play, and there's a small investment to come on board. Would you be willing to come back and we do this thing just like we do it with your clients? Would you be willing to come? Guys, I'm going to get y'all something. Y'all watch. I'm going to go behind the scenes. I'm going to negotiate something for you. But we're going to put a program together. If you're thinking about looking for a job, if you're in the middle of a job search now, if you're just looking to tighten up your resume, you're going to want to be a part of this. You are going to want to be a part of this, especially given the fact now that more interviews are being conducted digitally than ever before. You got to know how to be right for that interview. And this man can help you get right. Guys, I have enjoyed today, and there's more behind the scenes conversation we're going to put out with this. But when you see the name Miller Simmons III, reach out and tag him. As a matter of fact, I want you to go over to LinkedIn. My LinkedIn partners, I love y'all. I love you. So if you're listening to this on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you get your news from, I want you to connect with Miller Simmons III over on LinkedIn. Is that okay with you, sir?
Yeah, they can connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And if they go to the website, the
Oh,
website will take them to all three.
I don't like him. And by the way, you got a nice website. You
Thank you,
got,
brother.
I mean, you got a nice website. I've been over there looking around. You got a email way of keeping up with people as well, bringing them into the loop. Guys, don't miss out on Miller. Great family man. Believes in what he's doing to the fact that he's even taking some losses volunteer so other people could win. And I know this for a fact. So I want you guys to reach out to him. Miller, I have really enjoyed you. Thank you. And if you guys don't know, I open up with take two because, thank God it was my mentor. I did something so dumb, but your mentors know your heart. They know what you're about. And so he graciously gave his time to come back so I could get it right. And sir, I will always be appreciative to you, your family. I pray that your mom is doing well. He has a beautiful mom, y'all. His mom is just, and she raised him right. So, sir, I want to say thank you again. It has been my plum pleasing pleasure to sit with you. It's always a great joy to talk with you. And here's the last thing going out. Guys, if you're not connected with the right people, you're probably going to get a lot of the wrong stuff. Connecting with people who care about your success is important. Networking with people who are going places, you get caught up in it and you end up going places. This is an opportunity to take advantage of the transition that is going on in the world right now. And there's a lot of it. But you don't have to be helpless. You just have to agree to say, I want some help. And that has been our biggest problem. We don't know when to raise our hand and say, I want some help. Email Miller. Get that free nugget he's going to give you by spending at least 30, if not more time with you.
It'd probably be more because, like I said, I love what I do. So I say 30 minutes, but it's easy 45 minutes.
We got the same problem. Once we start, because we love what we do, it's hard to let it go until we know they got it. Guys, when you see us combined, we're going to bring in maybe a couple other people too, or maybe we'll just keep it with us because I like this vibe. And we just bring them in, those who are seeking job opportunities. And he told you, from sanitation engineer to corporate CEO, we cover the gamut to help you get where it is you want to go. You've been listening to a One Due North LLC broadcast of Speak Out Loud with Coach Terry. I want to thank my friend and mentor and colleague, Mr. Miller Simmons III, and his awesome company for coming on and sharing just a little bit of what it is they do. Don't you dare miss the next broadcast. And will you do me a favor? Would you share it? Would you ask your friends to share it? That's how we collectively get better. God bless you, and I look forward to the next broadcast.